Good morning and welcome to, sorry, I'm eating some toast, but good morning and welcome to today's live show. Today we're going to be looking at some stock market analysis for a lot of things that are going on. We just got the CPI that came out at somewhere around these levels, right? We have point 3 coming in at pretty much the previous there, but supposed to tick down. So people might take that as bad. That's probably why you're seeing some downside this morning. We talked about making good structure on the way up, and just know these type of readings, right? 3.3 is supposed to come in at 3.1, little tick up from 3.2. It is a big deal. It is a big deal, but I think people can shake this type of thing off, right? We've seen CPI shaken off all of the time. Then the inflation rate month over month coming in at 0.2, supposed to be at 0.1, coming in at consensus there, or a little bit above consensus there. And then inflation rate year over year, 2.4 versus 2.5 on the previous, supposed to be at 2.3. So slight tick ups. But I really just think that's enough to get some people to sell, and then we'll see if we can stay in this bullish trend. Because the dollar is coming down, well, the market's coming down right now, and that's something we have to pay attention to. Remember, we were leaning towards, hey, maybe we even go retest our little breakout area down towards something like 572.50. So if you need those daily expected moves, 581.78 to the upside and 572.50 to the downside. Then we look over at the Qs. This would be a great place to make that handle still if we're going to use this as an area that is important and we need to break through it. Well, a handle would make a lot of sense, and maybe we'll see if this 30-minute can get down by that center line and curl back up into positive territory. This is still a very positive trend as of this moment, so just make sure to pay attention to that. Going forward, if you need those daily expected moves for the Qs, 498.14 to the upside and 488.16 to the downside. So those are the 2 points to pay attention to for the day. I'm going to put you back over on the SPY. One thing that was cool was Amazon's still seeing that upside, right? Amazon's still up 1.31%. Very, very good. This is what we posted to Patreon. Very, very cool there. Seeing some upside. We'll have to see if that has some resistance at the top of this zone. I think the top of this zone is where you really want to build that structure to actually head higher. So we'll see if this gets some kind of pullback from Amazon, but a great move so far. Some bigger time frames taking over there. I'm just going to sit. We're going to watch the SPY for a little bit. I'm going to eat my toast. I haven't had toast and jelly in like years, and I actually really like toast and jelly. I know it's not healthy really, but hope everyone's doing good out there. Hope any Florida people, hopefully you guys are doing okay. Anyone affected by the hurricanes, North Carolina, all that, I hope you guys are doing all right. I've seen some crazy, crazy things. The internet's full of crazy things. Sorry about the video yesterday. I got to figure out what is going on with my editor. I'll look at that throughout the day. Ari's up there screaming. All right, let's click through. Looks like Apple seeing that pullback. Remember, Apple, a good little handle here can go a long way. We'll see if that can hold up. Somewhere like 227.33 looks pretty good to me. Tesla, another thing with Tesla is just, is this 30-minute going to be able to curl up? I think that's kind of the big thing right now. You do technically have a divergence here. I think that's a pretty good little divergence there for a double bottom. That could just be a small move though, we'll see. Got to get back above at least 250 to extend higher, maybe fill that gap for Tesla. Amazon's just looking pretty good. We'll see if that just has a 30-minute pullback at some point. Nvidia, retesting again that weekly expected move. You are outside of the weekly expected move. 30 minutes still very, very up in positive territory for the MACD. So that's still going to take a lot of time to go negative. We have to see if that's going to whip things back around at any point today. AMD, same boat. You're just kind of looking, does this hold up above that 169.58 level that we've seen as important for a very long time? Meta starting to break down, seeing if that thing can curl down and already has curled down a 2-hour right, but we're seeing if that 30-minute has something to say. If that is going to end up going higher, we'll find out early on in the day. We are opening up. Let's click over to the SPY and just see if we're going to get this 30-minute pullback right away. In the first minute of the day, we do have that red bar on the histogram for the MACD. And we do have volatility turning up, or trying to turn up in some way. Not really coming back in with too much steam, but we also have the dollar trying to drop a little bit here. So we'll pay attention. People were more towards the put side yesterday. So we'll see if that keeps piling on. PayPal might have a good setup. We'll check it in a second. My wife made toast, and I haven't had toast in so long, and I don't eat breakfast normally, but I was like, I kind of want toast. What up, Jay? How you doing? I don't know what the nobody's gonna know, guys. I thought no one's gonna know. Like the meme? Not me. Pretty sure your home is gone. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Tony. Lucky enough in Kansas, we do not see hurricanes, obviously, but I do feel for you there, Tony. I sound like the meme. A little nasally, a little gay, yeah. Almost done. Then we're going to look at some stocks. But notice this is not crashing into oblivion. How many times I've had to say CPI rarely crashes the market. Unless you see that tick up by like a full percentage point, usually it's not going to really crash the market. Now, if we get piled up data, I think we get PPI tomorrow and things like that. If we keep piling up data, that all adds up to something. No one's gonna know. They're gonna know. I think you got a shot to go to 572.50. Also, I'm sorry if you hear any crying. We're kind of changing the nap schedule, so you might struggle a little bit today. Sorry if you guys hear some crying. I can assure you, she's probably just looking for a reaction or wanting a treat. She's like, I want a fruit popsicle. Why do I like toast? Toast and jelly. My wife thinks I'm weird. I friggin' slab butter on that thing. Just getting all these little flakes off me. Let me go set this down real quick so it's not in my trading way, you know? Alrighty. All right, guys, as my favorite business teacher in college used to say, there's nothing to it but to do it. So let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Not like that. Not like that. Not like that, guys. Come on. Come on. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. All right. So right now we do have a side. Most of the time you just say sideways, right? For now, we'll still see if that can head down. Remember yesterday that we pushed above the daily expected move, right? We pushed above that daily expected move. So something to take away from that is by pushing above that daily expected move, you might have caused some potential for gamma squeezing, really, on a shorter time frame, right? Maybe like a 30-minute or something like that. That's why we're paying attention to the fact that the 30-minute can get overbought for quite some time. But for now, we want to say, hey, a pullback would be nice, right? A pullback would be pretty nice, and then you see that come down, retest with that daily expected move. This would be a fantastic retest. It would be a great retest, and then you just turn back up into positive territory. Then we got to watch out for a little bit of divergence, but if we don't see any divergences, this thing can just head up for a long time. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do as well. I wanted to check on the Amazon play. Amazon, you still got a good amount of room for the entire week to go higher. Yeah, you could experience some consolidation, but it's still saying you could head higher this week. I still like the area that Amazon is at for some consolidation, for some pulling back, right? Or if we can get a strong move like this and then pull back, either one of those I really do like, but I still like this so far. We were pointing out the 2-hour divergence. That thing is still positive. 30-minute has not rotated back down, so nothing about this says manage the trade at all. And even if you wanted to manage the trade, it's pretty damn positive. So it might just mean, hey, sell some of those contracts, right? That's what this most of the time I like to say is, if this is positive and you're thinking of managing the trade, hey, you could just leave a few contracts, right? Sell out to break even and then let the house kind of play with house money there. But that's something that I like to do. Great area there. It's in our sell zone, so you got to be a little cautious there, but for the most part, it looks good. What's the daily doing with that? Yeah, see how the daily really wants to whip around now? Yeah, that daily just wants to go whoosh. So that's what we're going to be watching. If that daily can turn up, then hey, you might have this going on. You might have Tesla high go make a new one. You're still in a positive trend. It's crazy that just a couple days ago we had macro signals that were like, we're going to drop. And then we randomly see it buying up, and then everything's gone, right? Everything's kind of gone, except for the dollar is still elevated. That is coming down slightly, but not too dramatically. We'll see how that PCC opens up in a bit. How's Hurricane Milton going to affect the market? It can cause inflation. It can cause inflation and serious job loss. Now, one thing about the data today. Ooh, good point. Thank you for bringing that up because it kind of triggered something in my brain. One thing about the data today, I want you to see this. The initial jobless claims. This is more the reason that people should be selling in the market is initial jobless claims going up to 258K, the previous 225. This one here was supposed to be at like 227, 230, but it came in at 258. And then people are trying to argue that this includes the losses of jobs from the hurricanes. The hurricanes just happened. They are not in this data, just so you are aware. They are not in this data. So once we get that data, it's going to look even worse. So be very, very cautious with any kind of jobs data releases. But that is something that can happen because of the hurricanes. You can see an increase in unemployment. You can see an increase in inflation, which if we probably go look, I'm going to guess since it hit, that oil is seeing an uptick. There you go. Oil's getting a little bit of an uptick here, trying to cross up with a 2-hour. Now that is a little flaggy, but oil's starting to catch a little bounce. See if that can continue, but oil's starting to catch a bounce with that hurricane hitting. That will probably keep happening for a little bit. We'll see. All right, SPY trying to curl down just a little bit more. Let's see if we go down towards a daily expected move, but just note that volatility is high. All right, if this 30-minute curls down at any time, that would mean, ooh, failure, right? Fail to break out. That's what that pretty much means. Don't necessarily want a 2-hour to turn up. I think that's your signal that, hey, you might want to pay a little more attention to this. And we could see some more drastic selling come in, see this go higher. We'll see if we make that triple divergence. But if we don't, and we actually start to really see the daily continue to take over, we close out in these areas, that's going to be a little bad because you do have kind of a cup and handle look here for volatility. Yeah, just something to keep in your brain. Let's look over here for a sec. I'm gonna go over here. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do this. We're going to do that. And
in valuations when you take a look at this upcoming earnings season, because many people have made the point to us that
yes, JP Morgan earnings, by the way.
You could make that.
I believe that's tomorrow.
But if you look, we've looked at bull markets, we've looked at economic cycles, and we've also looked at valuation cycles. And if you look at valuation cycles for the S&P and for the tech sector, this is middle of the road. This is not excessive. It is not cheap.
But it's earnings,
it is
50-50
not excessive.
flip.
We are not at the point where you should be waving the white flag and saying, everybody back up the truck and sell. That is, we're nowhere near that. And the good news is in this cycle, as opposed to 94, 95, in 94, 95, multiples soared because companies were priced high and they made no money. Today, those companies that have good value, you should see tech valuations soar meaningfully for the broader tech market, and that's what's coming. That's what gives us a broader market.
So the fundamentals justify the valuations.
I mean, they're not cheap, but look around the world. Where are you going to put your money?
Yeah.
We do this every day, and every day everybody complains to me about valuations in the U.S. market, and I go, okay, great. Where are we going to put it?
Well, we start tomorrow, don't we, with JP Morgan trading at 2 times its book value. Matthew, let's see if that valuation is justified. We'll set off the rest of the market. Jose Rasco, we thank you so very much, of HSBC Private Banking and Wealth Management. Now, coming up, the CEO of Stellantis planning a big management shakeup amid profit.
Didn't mind that little topic, but for the most part, I just want to say this is not a good signal for JP Morgan. You confirm this. Now, you are still relatively high on this, but if you start to sell off, it's still before earnings, and remember, they can just say one good thing and this thing just flips back around. Maybe we need to look at a bigger time frame. Notice the daily's curled up. So what are you going to trust more, the daily or a 30-minute? Most of the time you want to trust a daily, right? So that's most of the time the daily is going to have a better signal in it than a 30-minute. That 30-minute could just produce some kind of small pullback and turn up. But just a reminder, that is earnings. If you're new to this channel, first of all, thank you for joining the channel. But second of all, around earnings, you have to understand technical analysis. It's a 50-50 flip. Sometimes it gets it right. I just look for the golden setup around, which is in my courses, but the golden setup around the earnings is something that I pay attention to. But if it's not there and I just see a 30-minute divergence, I'm not YOLOing. If I feel like I have to take a play, I'm downsizing the position, just so you're aware, because all this it could do is just pull back down to like 212, and then people start to read into the earnings as good, and then that goes up. So yeah, pretty much it's just based on what they actually say. And most likely, since it's JP Morgan, people are going to be looking at their like outlook for the economy over the next few months. JP Morgan, I believe, has been relatively critical of the economy over the last few times I've heard about them, but we'll see if that changes. I was even yesterday, I had Bloomberg on. I was going to have you guys listen to it, but it was just the JP Morgan, the CEO, just being like, hey, yeah, banks need more help. I'm like, you guys already get bailed out by the government all the time. You use our money and then times 10 it to give out a loan, which doesn't make any sense. It's fake money. So I don't know how much help you can get unless you put yourself in a problem. And if you put yourself in a problem, then I don't see why we would help you personally. But banking system's pretty important, so I get it. 30-minute signal here does not look good for the time being. Just be careful with earnings. That's what we got to say about JP Morgan. Today reported saying they're cutting more. Okay, so here's how cutting works. When you cut rates, you usually cannot stop cutting rates. Especially when you say you're going to cut by 25 basis points, then you cut by 50. What that kind of tells me is you're cutting for a certain reason. Why are you cutting faster all of a sudden? I think they were worried about something. And so if they're still worried about that thing, it doesn't matter what the data looks like. They're going to keep cutting rates because they know something bad's coming around the corner. It can affect how much they cut. I've always been leaning towards 25 basis points in November. Just because we've seen things like oil go up. That just made me go, okay, well, if oil's going up, assets are getting more expensive, groceries are getting more expensive, we're about to go through a hurricane, we're probably going to experience more inflation, but they're still going to want to cut rates. So I'm probably going to say 25 basis points, right? If they do more than that, then that is a huge reaction. You're talking about a full like 100 points in just a couple of months. Explain to me why you operate in real time and not extended trading hours. I'm very confused because the indicators change completely from one to the other. Yeah, I've always used regular trading hours. I think the volume is better in regular trading hours. Sometimes in the after hours, you'll see major profit taking or buying or something like that based on a move that happened that day. And then that can accidentally cross up a daily. And then you're like, oh, the next day it just kind of like looks bad in the thing. So I like regular trading hours. I think the volume's better. That's all. That's it. If anything ever changed and I felt that extended trading hours work, in a way I use extended trading hours by looking at the futures, right? We look at these on 2 hours, we see the 2 hours pulling back, so that means most likely we do get that drawn down pullback, right? That's something I'll look at. I look at futures markets. I don't really want to look at the extended trading hours. That's just for me. If you have used them before and you think it works, that's fine, but these are just for my strategies, right? So I'm not going to use my strategies on an extended trade. I'm not going to use my strategies on extended trading hours and teach people how to use them on extended trading hours because I did all my back testing using regular. DJT still smoking hot. Ooh, still smoking hot. Daily turned up, never turned back down. Looks like a good daily play there. 2 hour never turned down either, and see how it turns down in positive territory. That's a little different than managing the trade. You can manage it for a moment and see if that turns back up and just become a little 2 hour swing trader, but you just have to note daily is turning up and it's turning up and it is turning up. It's a great look. It's the short seller problem here. I don't know what's going on with DJT. I don't know what's going on with this. Maybe someone should go figure that out and update me. AMC seeing a little spike here. DJT is pumping. So waiting for the gap fill for the Qs. Yeah, I think you're pretty much looking for gap fill. But the cool part here is you're pretty much coming up to that gap, making a handle way over here. But if we can make this here, we can probably bust through that level or at least go test the weekly expected move. Especially if we gear up today. If we really gear up today and be like, all right, we're going to gear up today and boom, that would be nice, but we'll see. Tesla is tanking now. Ooh, Tesla is tanking. That's why you got to pay attention for if it rolls up, right? That rolled down. So ever since this price point right here, it says 243.53 area. There's no reason for upside. Wow, that thing is spiking down. Didn't they have an event today? Didn't Tesla have an event today? Can someone correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Tesla have an event today in some way? Oh, tonight. Okay. Robo-taxi. Aftermarket. Okay. Get people nice and fearful before that event and then see what happens after. I could see that. Amazon's starting to fade the move just a little bit here. Let's go look at Amazon. I just want to see something for Amazon because that's a gap up. I know that's a gap up, but yeah, 5 minutes starting to show weakness. Good reaction up though. This could all be just a retest, but we could, so you notice that we broke through this level, we gapped above it. So we can either use this as support now, but if we start to break down and cross down, maybe it's because we needed to build structure, right? So this level here, maybe we actually needed to do this to go higher. And so that could take place like now. So if that turns down, watch if that turns back up. But if it's just going to retest and keep going, then the bigger time frames are still taking over. Tesla down 2.75% in our buy zone now. But this is not a good look for Tesla. You can really see how we're breaking down a key level. And that is breaking down. So you really want that to save itself in the next 24 hours. Because if you continue this, it's really not good. Daily's just pulling down and down and down. Very bad look now for Tesla. See the Dow, IWM really suffering here. See, this is a great look. You notice you got to pay attention to both sides because look how good this looks. Ooh, get that handle, crosses up. You got to wait for the cross up, right? We got to wait for the cross up. We can't just guess because then that produces down. Now, why would that produce down? Well, you have a flat divergence here for the RSI. You have a downward divergence for the MACD, very close to the center line, and look at that. So you want to treat this like this is really bad, but if it turns around, it's really good. From here on out, you're going, ooh, that does not look pretty. Let's look 2 hour divergence here. This is something you're probably looking for now. If that 2 hour can rotate back up. We don't really have basing out signals, but you're just close to the center line. So if this 30-minute, if this is a blip, and this can turn back around, this actually would be a bullish reversal, right? This would say reversal trend would be good. 2 hour divergence there, that can confirm up, or keep up, confirm back up this daily. You could see a few days of positivity with that, maybe a couple of weeks. Now that's just if, right? The reason we talk about ifs are because you're joining this channel to see what I'm looking for. I'm looking for setups. And if this is going to be a setup, then I'm going to see that 30-minute curl up. I'm going to see this this 2 hour be able to curl back up later on today or maybe going into tomorrow. Because look at the RSI. You're forming it. Not there yet, but I'm paying attention to it. You're forming it. Not there yet, but I'm paying attention to it. It's not confirmed. Let's hop back over to the SPY. I think the 30-minute chart is going to be one of the most important things for today. Just see if we get a retest. This is not dramatic selling by any means, and just note that for Friday, we already had a 3.1 put to call ratio. I'm actually going to take a peek at that, see if that's interesting, see if that's updated at all today. We're good, Max Payne. SPY really not breaking down too much. Q's a little bit more suffering. Ooh, but a good little retest of an area here where we could have made the cup. I think you go down a little lower. 488.35 looks like a good level. And that's right by our 488.16, our daily expected move. That would be a great level. Okay, so for today, 2.45 put to call ratio. We do have a put wall at 570 for the SPY. So just below our daily expected move, we do have a big put wall. The smaller put wall is at 575. So you're at a small put wall right here. The call wall up towards 583. So the call wall is our weekly expected move. So if we see bullishness, 583 can hold as some resistance. That is your call wall. If you guys want to see that real quick, small put wall 575, small quote unquote. The big put wall 570, and then the call wall obviously at 583. So some very obvious levels. And then I'm gonna look for what people did for Friday now. Ticked up a little bit, 3.36 now, put to call ratio for Friday. Big put wall at 567, a lot of puts. Your call wall is at 580. So for Friday, you have more contracts. So if you can close above 580 today, that would be the big thing. Close up by this daily expected move. Just close up in this area. Then tomorrow you might see something crazy because if PPI comes out as good, you're in positive gamma at that point for sure because of yesterday. All right, I'm gonna get out of that Bloomberg. It's not really doing too much. I'm just reading what's going on. What a drop on Tesla. It looks like a big drop before the news, before the event later on. We're in a buy zone now. But like kind of think about the market, right? We have this bundle in here, kind of like the market, and this is a level we're paying attention to if we get down to, because that would be a massive cup. and then maybe you make a big old handle to get back into this liquidity, get that big handle up back up to 246 or something like that, and then you drop back down on the bigger time frames, like a 2 hour, right? We see this drop down, we curl back up for a while, get up to these levels, and then see that curl down again, continuing the negative trend. Not too good of a look for Tesla, but we'll see. Oh yeah, pullback for sure. I mean, people coming in asking pullback, you better be making sure you're watching the videos every single night, because that'll give you some insight into what's going on today. The most likely thing, I think, was pulling back, right? That was my opinion, was this would remain healthy. So this is a great way for the market to remain healthy, in my opinion, the Qs and the SPY. If it can do that. Now, if it does it too much, the 2 hour is going to cross, and that's a problem. If that crosses, remember, what was it? What did we just look at? Shoot, it was IWM. We can make that handle. If this 2 hour crosses, that's a bad thing. Well, IWM just crossed the 2 hour. That's a bad thing. So that handle's gone. It's just you had a big gap. But the 30-minute did not hold it up. That's the key thing there. So this 30-minute needs to hold you up. You need to just dip down, see some buyers step in. Thank God we were okay in the house. Nice, Mark. I'm glad to hear it. If I wanted to buy something today and sell something today, I don't know why the 5 minutes on here, but it's probably just the last one I looked at. I would probably look at the 5 minute, honestly. You see how there's divergence above you? I would just see if that 5 minute can get back above this. The trend is very bullish. You're back above the 200 here, right? So you notice these drop down, you take back all the moving averages. Usually you see a good move, right? Because you could see something kind of like this moment here. You see how here we were really close to the center line to dropping, no real divergences or anything like that, but you're really close to you're pretty close to the center line. You kind of come down in that area, you just see that curl up. Well, now you bought yourself some more time to go make that divergence again. The only difference between here and here is divergence, right? So you have to pay attention to that, but I would just say 5 minute can take all this back. I just try to do a little 5 minute swing trade to make like 10-20%, something like that. That's what I would do if I had to do something today. Let me look at the Qs. See, the Qs that doesn't look as good. You're getting rejection from the breakdown area, right? So you're not taking back the moving average. You're getting rejection wicks, little tiny wicks in here down towards that area. IWM as well. That one doesn't look good. What's Apple look like? See, they're all testing breakdown areas. Come on, load, damn it. Okay, see, this one here might be a 15. I do like 30 minutes though. So if that 15 minute rotates down, there could be a play for today. You're outside of a weekly expected move. Nvidia pulls down, looks great, but I just like to be a position trade. I like my trades to take time. I don't like to have to stare at charts and freak out for 3 hours, you know? That uncrossed, that's kind of wild. I think you might be right, Dave. I think we might be right. But just to note, these election years, a lot of the time after the election, you will go through something in October. Then you just see upside for a few months. So we just have to pay attention if those macro signals, I would say on the weekly scale, do roll over in October, then that could be a different story. Volatility, see if that thing is scaling up, starting to drop back down. That 30 minute drops down for volatility. Might be heading back down towards 20. Another 5% drop for volatility. Dow trying to hold up. SPY trying to hold up. What'd Palantir do? Palantir, that's a massive move. So now, you remember we're paying attention to this 2 hour because we had divergence. Now you're starting to get rid of those. So this tells us that this can extend for a little bit of time, even if we pull back on a 2 hour. And there's no 30-minute divergence really here anymore. So even if we do curl down, look for that to curl back up. You're very, 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 very positive. Palantir is looking pretty strong these days. Gold seeing a reaction up. Once again, maybe an inflation type play. Let's go look at Bitcoin actually, because Bitcoin had something interesting. The 4-hour chart here I was paying attention to because I want to call this divergence. I know it's a slightly higher low, but if that 4-hour turns up, that would mean some positivity can come. And I think this energy will be released to the upside from this point. I really think that we're going to maybe test this high if we get this 4-hour to curl back up. That can take some time, right? We can build up to this area, get that little handle, and then turn up, but that would be an interesting look if you get this 4-hour to turn up over the next couple of days. I do use 4-hour charts for Bitcoin. Nail dropping off. And housing sector follows nail pretty much to a T. Look for that to 30-minute to curl up, but that's about it there. It wasn't good data. I think the jobs data is really what's upsetting. Now, dollar coming down. PCC actually relatively high. People really trying to make calls here. I mean, it makes sense. We're at a point where we could be positive gamma because of yesterday. Because of the breakout. But dollar is down while the market's down. We just don't necessarily have the high PCC. So not a lot of people trying to call more of a crash, but we know that a lot of people are calling some downside for tomorrow. Thoughts on Tesla 30-minute? I think the Tesla 30-minute is really down into negative territory, and that's no look that looks good. In order for this to look good again, you got to take back this level within the next probably 24 hours. Because if you head lower, you get into this, you can reject just straight from that zone. If you get down to that level, you could make this and everyone gets euphoric, and then you use this as liquidity to drop down again. So this is a very bad look for Tesla. You can see that the 2-hour just pointing straight down. It just looks awful. That does not look good. There's no real 30-minute setup here for Tesla. It was just, hey, I curled down right here at 243.39, 33, whatever it is, and never curled back up. So no good signal there. Sorry it's not better, BK. I really do. I'm sorry it's not better. I wish there was more to do with Tesla. Okay, so what are we gonna do here? We're gonna cross maybe down to 225.84. See if the SPY crosses. Couple of bars down. This is how you kind of want it to be to remain healthy too, is remain healthy, stay up. Don't see a big drop, right? Even if you do see a big drop, you're hoping it's like that. But if we can do better by just doing this, and then you see that cross back up, get above those moving averages again, get above this little level, good thing. So we'll see. Dollar's dropping off because of the 2-hour divergence up towards our sell zone. Look how we wick into that sell zone, or resistance level, I guess we could say. Now this can start to curl over 4 hours again, 4-hour rejection divergence there as well. That tells us, hey, we have to watch. The daily could experience a pullback here for the dollar soon. That's what this says as far as momentum goes. It could, it's probable. The main thing with volatility, just watching, make sure that does not turn up on a 2-hour. My thoughts are on Apple are it's getting a handle. That's what I think. And I don't mind that by any means. I think you're testing the first level where you can hold up. The second level is going to be here. That's where you held up with that wick. Third level, I think, is you need to grab liquidity in this area. So the middle of it makes sense. And our 225.84 just happens to be in the middle of it. So I think this would be a fantastic look. Get people pretty bearish. Then you just curl up into positive territory. And then you try to head up towards something like, I think it's something like 232. But Amazon, we like that. Look at the wicks at the top of our zone so far. NVIDIA daily is just pointing up, right? Just pointing up. Pointing up, pointing up, pointing up. So I'm a little bit weary for a pullback towards maybe next week, but a bigger one. We'll see if any traps are set up here, like a 30-minute divergence. Remember, this is going to be closer to the center line if that sets up. There we go. Volatility, see if that can curl down on this 30-minute. That'll help. SPY, see if that can get back to positive on this 30-minute. DJT Max Pain, 1850. Let's hope it doesn't get all the way down there, right? Let's look a little closer. 15-minute even still positive. Rejection divergence right there. Not a good play, really. A hard one to play. It's there. 30-minute pullback, still the most likely thing. Look at GameStop. GameStop actually had a decent signal here. So I thought that was interesting. And I was looking at AMC yesterday a little bit. GME, that's some good little 30-minute divergence down here. The main thing is going to be the 2-hour. Can that curl up, right? Can that curl up, and then can the daily get back to positive? Because that's going to be a big deal. Daily turn up is what we're kind of looking for. And if DJT is seeing some crazy upside, wonder if short sellers are starting to get exposed left and right. IWM trying to set up something down here, that 2-hour divergence, right? So 2-hour divergence is what's trying to be set up here. If you want to go a little bit closer in, an hourly might help you out. No, I think the 2 hours is the only thing. See if that can turn back up. Alrighty. Looks like we have a buy remaining at higher levels. That's good. Yeah, so AMC and GME, what you're looking for here is can this 30-minute remain going up? And this needs to go positive too. AMC, this had some divergence down here. A little bit flat, but decent. That can curl up a 2-hour chart. If that 2-hour curls up, anytime the 2-hour curls up, you want to pay attention. There actually is divergence there as well. I didn't even notice these things actually, but 2-hour divergence there for AMC. Hold on. Someone's trying to talk to me. Let me see here. Give me 2 seconds. And it's nothing. Nothing. All right, we'll refresh that. So many spam colors all the time. Everyone's trying to spam all the time. Oh, I gotta turn the camera back on. My bad, folks. My bad. Tesla dip already over? Well, you can always say that. If you always see a big, and Todd, thank you for subscribing 16 minutes ago, but you can always say that. It's like, oh, this stock went up 50%. I should have just bought calls on that this morning. Like, if it went up, if it went down by like whatever percentage Tesla went down by, it's like, yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone and their mom could be like, man, this went down by 2.5%. I should have shorted that this morning. It's like, yeah, I mean. So one thing to do here is look at AMC and GME. I mean, these are the times where you actually do want to pay attention. That is confirming 2 hour. If that confirms as well, that can mean good things going into next week. We'll see. So if that confirms, I've got my order ready. Really worth just yet, but yeah, that's so if this 2 hour turns up, I've got the order ready. GME, if that 2 hour turns up, hey, got the order ready. I'm just holding GME at this point. I'm going to play an option maybe with AMC if that happens, but all right, volatility trying to cross down on a 30 minutes, so it looks like positivity to be had as of right now. Google just took off, and Google was in some trouble. I was kind of looking into that a little bit. They were in some trouble for some stuff up in here. I don't know if it was like they were going to regulate something. I don't remember exactly, but they went through some bad news. That's why Google's been dropping. Yeah, and that's usually what happens. That's why I want to see. That's why I want to see these things confirm on a bigger time frame than a 30-minute. Right? I'm not doing it based on the 30-minute. I'm doing it based on the 2 hour. So I'll just keep my eye on this. But if that 2 hour turns up, hey, it's got a good shot to turn up the daily scale. Daily scale still negative now. Negative now. So very difficult to go back into that positive trend. Still possible. We'll see. SPY keeps trying to curl up, keeps failing. Volatility going negative as of right now. See if that thing can turn down. That might be a little hint. There you go, Tesla. Get up from that buy zone. Amazon 2 wicks there for now. And NVIDIA about to look like it's going to make the next move higher. Look at this real quick. And I wonder if AMD is going to follow this. Yeah, AMD down by the center line. I really think that might follow. I've got to prep a bunch of things because if AMD turns up on a 30-minute, I'll manage a trade. Then I'll get back in if I see another reversal signal in the future. Great move, AMC. Good job, keep it going. SMCI showing the double top here. Wanted to make the handle, not able to do it. So boom to the downside right there. No reason for upside till that turns back around. Is there a divergence on any time frame for the SPY? Not that I see. Not right now. I mean, there was for like maybe a 5-15 a minute, like right here, but those happen all the time. I like to look for 30 minutes for a reason. A little bit more time behind the bars. Volatility, if that drops down and makes a divergence at 20 and actually confirms, that's when I'll be really paying attention though. Also, looking for really anything here. Gold trying to test a breakdown area. More of a breakdown area towards 243.92. That's where I'm looking for rejection. People now going a little bit more, trying to position a little bit more towards the middle. Just seeing if volatility confirms that down, because that means good things for the SPY. That means probably upward daily expected move or something like that. Uh, 95% of day traders lose money. So only 5% of people really make money day trading. That's why I do not condone it. A lot less stressful just to pay attention to bigger signals and be like, all right, that looks weak. Let me do that for 2 weeks. Ah, didn't work out. Dude, do people not understand English? I just said we're potentially in a gamma squeeze. I've been saying for 2 days that this 2-hour signal is a squeeze signal. How is that bearish? I don't get it. People, you're just driving me nuts. Just driving me nuts. What about anything? Let's hold on. Let's do this real quick. Watch this. Watch this. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you something real quick. Like, people are just not paying attention. Video 1 day ago, we will hit new all-time highs. Dollar says it could be a bull trap. But we will hit new all-time highs. That is a bullish thing to say. CPI trap does not always mean bull trap. Did you watch the video last night? No, you obviously didn't. CPI trap. You do not know what we're even talking about because you did not watch the video. We were talking about a trap here because I said this looks bullish. In my video, I was leaning towards a trap here, not here. Man. We were talking about a 30-minute small pullback to here, seeing if we can find some trap behavior at that level. My God, it's like people never pay attention to anything. You're like, that's the problem with today's world, is everyone likes minute-long videos. You're not willing to watch a whole thing to get a full assessment of a situation that's going on. If volatility turns down on a 30-minute, that would be a good thing for stocks. By the way, when volatility turns down, I know that's bearish for volatility, but don't be confused. Coming every day, still bearish. Yes, really, I was really, guys, yeah. Oh yeah, my Patreon, I was really bearish on Amazon. I was really bearish on Amazon, for sure. Really bearish on Amazon here, 100%. It's fine. I'll take my money and be happy. And didn't really go fill the gap there. Looking at my other charts for a bit. Real flaggy for the SPY. If we can hold that for a long time, that'd be good. That was like the weakest yawn I've ever had. I need a better one. AMD has really built a lot of liquidity here. Nvidia trying to cross up. I would look for AMD. AMD crosses up here. That could be a good thing. Holding up at our 169.58 level. Just need that thing to cross up, don't we? 2 hour did just cross. We can buy ourselves a little bit time with that 30-minute to go up. Ooh, things are rejecting hard though. Rejecting right off of the annual expected move for 2024. Ugh. Oh, I got you, Rother. I got you. And so, like I said, I'm not someone who says I'll always get it right or anything, but I think some people probably are annoyed that I flip back and forth so much, but I don't care. You have to flip back and forth so much. Look at the market. I mean, it flips back and forth every single day. So my calls on Amazon say differently. My short on volatility says differently. But if you think that I'm bearish all the time, you're most likely not paying attention to the entire video. You're most likely not paying attention to the fact that we said macro signals look horrible. If we save ourselves over the next 72 hours, we can buy more time, maybe go to all-time high. Then the next day, hey, we bought some more times, now we're going to go to an all-time high. Like, that's bullish, by the way. So I don't. Hey, however your ears are working, that's fine. You think what you want. It's cool with me. I really could care less. As long as I'm taking the right options and my money is being increasing, I'm happy. Okay, do we need more of a pullback then? Because we're getting some wicks. Do we need more of a pullback? Are we going to see that go down to the daily expected move today? Still would be a great retest to head higher. Still a bullish trend. I would really like that test of that daily expected move and see what the dollar's doing from there. But dollar's starting to hold better. But macro, I'll always be bearish. Macro side, yeah, I'll be bearish right now for sure on the macro side. Like when it comes to weekly charts, oh yeah, I'll be bearish. Now that can take, what, another 6 months to maybe do something because it's on a weekly scale. But I think you're at a time now where you got to pay close attention. Damn, man. Thought we'd get more of a pullback than this. People starting to go more towards the middle. See if they keep going to the... If that keeps going, let's see if it gets to the put side. Maybe we have to go down here to get it to the put side. Amazon, big rejection from there. I like the look of AMD for once. I actually do kind of like AMD. I just don't like the 2 hour, but I do like the 30-minute. XLU able to turn up. Volatility still remaining positive now. Keep building volatility, then drop like a rock. I'm down. Let's go. Let's shoot this market to 600. Cat, what the fuck is going on? That's funny. Can we get a hint anywhere? Okay, we do have some wick ups from this high. Just want to see if the futures would help us out at all. Not quite. Man, Christopher, you look like a clown, dude. Because people who watch my videos understand. It's gonna get to here, 583. You gravitate towards whole numbers a lot of the time. It's a psychology thing. You'll hear it all the time. Take a look at Tesla. Could it be a trap? I think it could. You're going down into a buy zone. So you're going down into a buy zone. See if that 30-minute can turn back up for you. The 2 hour, you need that to turn back up though. The 2 hour is going to need to turn back up. But that's a good wick in our buy zone. The Qs just keep reacting up towards the annual expected move. We'll see what happens with that. See if that turns down, though. Maybe we could set up a trap down towards 488.16. Because we kind of compared this with the SPY. We kind of compared this back to June. In June, you had a look eerily similar to this. Kind of a big cup, right? Big cup. Even if you wanted to include all the way over here, big cup. Big handle, and then we ended up seeing the 30-minute go overbought for a very long time. That's why I think you have a chance to just see the 30-minute get overbought for a very long time. Yeah, NVIDIA is showing that upside, seeing that if that can cross on the 30-minute, that's a good sign. And then AMD, if that follows, I think AMD looks like the opportunity if that can follow. Tesla might have been a shakeout. Might have been, right? We don't know what news they're going to release later today, or at least I don't. I'm just paying attention to the signals. If the 30-minute can curl up here, break this trend, get probably back above this, you can start to make that series of higher lows. So the daily's been going down for a minute. So you are going through the daily pullback. Pretty damn good level to pull back to. And if you really look at Tesla, you really look at this on the big picture. Remember, this is curled up on the monthly. Tesla can see months and months of positivity. If you can confirm something like this, that would make a lot of sense. What's my view on Bitcoin? I think Bitcoin's its own thing, right? But for now, with the signals that I'm seeing, I'm more like, okay, are we going to see some kind of 4-hour turn up here? That's all I'm really looking at for Bitcoin. I like to look at the bigger ones, like it's starting at a 2-hour, going to a 4-hour. 4 hours is what I'm looking for. Is there a 2-hour signal in here that can hint that that's going to bounce? Well, you would say not necessarily, right? Not necessarily at this moment. So this doesn't really look like it can reverse around. So the only thing I'm going to pay attention to here is if the 4-hour just turns around on its own, kind of V-shapes. That's what I'd be looking at. If it doesn't, then you're probably just going to see this continue, right? We break these lows, but we'll see. I more want to treat Bitcoin as an investment, so I look for the big time frames most of the time. But yeah, 4-hour might be your friend. See the volatility is able to. We're just bottling up this morning. That's what it seems like to me. Mainly pulling back with time, but nothing to really worry about at this point. Right, we can see kind of what we're in right now. One false breakout, we'll see. Dollar is still scaling up now. 2-hour divergence here, not really adding up to much. PCC at 0.86, so no real rig behavior. We haven't seen it in a little bit of time. We just got to see when that actually takes over, but I think too many people towards the put side. So the best thing for the market maker, send stocks higher. Still, I think. See if anything's at weeklies. AMD not able to turn back around, so no trade set up there, confirming. These might need a deeper handle than that. Apple retesting that 228 level, going past it a little bit. Down towards 226.80 is where I want to pay attention to Apple. Tesla now testing a breakdown area, the first one. I think the stronger breakdown area is up by 241. Yeah, 241 to 242 looks like a good one. See if we get rejection there. If we can retake it, that'd be a good thing. Amazon curling down in our zone. See if we can break back below that. And NVIDIA trying to cross up, but kind of failing, getting a bunch of tests of the weekly expected move, really wanting to use that as support right now for NVIDIA. These levels here, we just keep gravitating towards what? The weekly expected move. Once, twice, 3 times, went even lower, but held up 4 times. So we'll see if that thing can just curl back up, but that means seeing something crazy. AMD still just falling down a little bit here. Meta confirming down on a 30-minute, saying more of a pullback down towards 574 would make sense. More of a 2-hour pullback. Microsoft got a little bit excited. So around these areas, you really would like it to make a handle and come down and test these levels, right? We wanted to get to here, stop, maybe retest these levels and then curl up. So we got excited. So what are we doing now? Well, we're testing those levels. So we'll see if this can turn back around on a 30-minute. If it goes a little too much though, you're gonna curl down the 2-hour and that's not a good thing. Google, let me look on these. Google down below a weekly expected move as of right now. 2 hours relatively close to the center line. We are currently pretty much, we're a little bit below the weekly expected move. So just like that one, well, if we wanted to head down, something like that would be good. So since we didn't do that, we broke down a little further. We could go do that right now. I'd just be paying attention to if this 30-minute curls down, because you're looking a little bit like you might just cross back down here for for Google, sorry. SMCI, Mara Gold. And Palantir. Palantir is still holding up well. Go look at that over here. Get those moves up. We are above the weekly expected move. 2 hours just up there. So even if we get a 2-hour to cross down, still a pullback for 2-hour pullback for Palantir most likely, and then we continue the trend. As of right now, you're seeing a 30-minute really, really high up there. So a 30-minute pullback still happening in the time being. We could still just pull back with time, stay up in these areas. We're above a weekly expected move, came down and tested that bad boy again. So if this can get by the center line and turn up, that would be a good thing. See if we can continue this positive trend. Very, very good. We're looking for some kind of squeeze to really take place here. I think that would take a lot of people off guard, but I mean, you did just have a breakout, but it seems a lot of puts going into Friday. You're literally pulling back right now, Chris. Like you're literally pulling back. I don't know how you can say no pullback and you're like, we're pulling back a little bit. Like you're literally doing it. And yeah, I just look at it. The opposite day. Ah, much better. Much better. Hey, Alan, you're about to pop up on here, but thank you so much for subscribing. Whether you like it or not, you are seeing a 30-minute pull back here, just so you're aware. We had to put Christopher in timeout for a little bit, like a little child, because I just think it's opposite day where he's at. So this here is a pullback with time, okay? This is a pullback, just like all of this was a pullback with time, okay? On a bigger time frame, this is on a 30-minute. This is pulling back in some way. We'll see if that can head down towards a daily expected move, but for the most part, we can see a 30-minute curl up into positive territory. That's what we're looking for here. There are not real big reversal signals here for the 30-minute, meaning the 2-hour can just keep extending higher. Just to be clear about that, this is some form of consolidation in the form of a small pullback. Yeah, I don't have a mod. My wife used to be my mod for my old streams. Kind of hard now. Kind of difficult. But this is pulling down from that high. It's a very minor pullback, right? We're still expecting this to be a minor thing at this moment. Volatility is not scaling up dramatically or anything like that. It is trying to base out, so we have to pay attention if the 2-hour can confirm in the upward direction. But that's not going to happen if this 30-minute can just cross down into negative territory. If that does happen, we cross down into negative territory, you want to pay attention, because if we start to gain some steam in the market, we start to squeeze, we can cross down on the daily, and then we'll have to pay attention if volatility can get all the way down to this 200, or maybe it stops it short and gets to 1683. We're just going to pay attention to the signals, guys. We're not going to try to make any YOLO plays, anything like that. We're just going to pay attention to the signals. If things keep curling up, then that's pretty bullish. Yeah, where is that gap then? Yeah, you're right. Let's look at where the gap is. There's your gaps. You actually have two small ones in here, but down towards that 18, 19, actually, sorry, 19 level. And I think you have one more. Didn't you have one more? No, we actually didn't form those gaps down there, but you do have one all the way down here towards that 19 level. And that's where we'll look, right? This can have a reversal signal as of tomorrow. This can. It can make it. You can go down like this and not fill that gap, do that, go like that, and boom, you got yourself a little reversal signal. But if that just keeps going, we don't complete that, right? We just do this and keep going down, we don't complete it, then that's not going to be a probable thing to happen. Probable thing to happen is, well, if you get rid of that signal, then probable thing is to probably squeeze. Volatility is dropping. Let's go look back over at AMD. I still think this has a good shot. It keeps testing our level of 169.58. I think this still has a good shot to extend a little bit higher. And if you want to check on something real quick, we'll check on something for you. What's this guy? Symbiotic? Yeah, see, that's just a major upward move. So there's no real analysis you can do here. You're just hoping for a 30-minute pullback at some point. I mean, you could go look if you're running into resistances and things like that from this area. You can just see we went up to this level that we kind of broke down from. We retested it. We built up liquidity, made a bunch of divergences, and now we're crossing to the upside. That's the main thing that happened here. It could, Lizard. It just depends. I mean, it doesn't really mean much. We just want to pay attention to the signals. The only reason we're paying attention to that a little bit is because we want to see if the dollar starts to drop dramatically. We want to see if this starts to drop, but you're seeing it go up. So those people could have an argument. It depends if that's retail or institutions at this point. And you just want to say, lots of puts for tomorrow. So you just want to say, if the dollar is going to experience weakness, we want to see if people are getting overly dramatic to that during the day. We're not really seeing that, and we're not really seeing weakness in the dollar. So really just watching, seeing if this volatility can turn down, and then you'd say most likely thing is we see some positivity. And if I'm going to see positivity for today, then the most likely thing is what? Maybe we gravitate towards 581.78. We do not have reversal signals here. I would like us to keep doing this. I would like us to keep doing this, and then at the end of the day, just see that cross up, and then go into tomorrow, maybe get some good data, because I believe PPI, is that tomorrow, right? I think I said PPI was tomorrow. PPI, yeah, PPI is tomorrow. It's supposed to come down, but we just saw a lot of things tick up slightly. The main thing is the jobs data is what people should be paying attention to. So that's a big jump there in the jobs data. And that doesn't even include what's happened with the hurricane. The hurricane's going to cause even more job losses. What's up, Tammy? Oh, you know I'll check it for you, Tammy. All right, this one here, the only bad part is you really have broken through without creating a handle, so a retest of this area would be a good thing. Even if that's just a 30-minute pulling down to something like 300, to something like that, that would be good. But the 2 hours, something to pay attention to. I think the 4 hour might look cleaner. Look at that 4 hour. So if you start to run into resistance here, 2 hour might be a little tighter. So maybe if that 2 hour crosses, this all might be some kind of fake move to the upside, honestly. Let me see here. What is going on? But I think if you pull back, you can still remain relatively healthy. Yeah, see if that's some consolidation, and then watch if that daily crosses. You're just going to reject off that 200. But for now, it looks very, very good, right? You'd expect this positivity to continue. You're still in that positive trend, no reversal signal on a 30-minute. So that tells me look for a 30-minute pullbacks and stuff like that if I want to get into a trade here. Keep coiling up, SPY. Keep coiling up. Yes, just don't rapidly sell off, right? We want this to hold up well. Walmart looks good. Walmart looked like a good, an interesting thing, didn't it? We saw the 2 hour divergences here. That led to a downturn. Now you're just getting this series of lower highs. Lower high, lower high, lower high. So if that 2 hour cross is most likely going to continue. Daily already crossed. Daily did have this straight up downward move for the RSI recently with a rejection here. So this can start to scale up. We'd even probably start to look at a weekly at this point and say, hey, if that weekly crosses, it's not gonna be a good thing. You could end up in a weekly pullback. You do have divergence on the RSI, but not on the MACD at the same time. So weekly pullback could be likely. Maybe you pull down to something like 71.15. I hope so too, Tammy. I hope you're doing well. Hope your family's doing well. Not my family. You're like, thanks, hope all is well with you and the family. I'm like, yeah, I hope so. I'm like, you guys okay up there? Keep our eye on this weekly chart. Remember, this guy is here. That's the signal that we're looking at on the macro scale. Why I've been bearish for a bit of time is because of this right here. That if this shows any weakness up here, then I need to pay attention. And we notice that the SPY is curling up, making some small divergence point here. Notice the Qs trying to make a small divergence point here, but I just think that we could extend this thing a little bit higher. What about you guys? What do you think? I think we could reach up towards 600 because that's where that monthly expected move is. If we really want to trap people for October, something like 600 would do it. 593 to be exact, 594. Yeah, there's a lot of divergences there. I think they're mostly pullback divergences, but it could be a more dramatic pullback. You know what I'm saying, Dave? But if that goes across the board, right, if all these weeklies start to roll over, then that's where it gets a little bit worrisome. Crazy to think that's with an election or maybe happening with an election year. Maybe it pulls back, people get a little euphoric going into spring of 2025. Like I think, remember I said like a week ago, I think we said the next 3 weeks we got to pay attention. And then it's after that, if we can make it through all this very cleanly, we got about a couple weeks left maybe from this point. If we can really make it through that, I think you can buy time all the way into possibly January. And I think you're right to say that, Dave. I think the signals are showing that saying that statement makes sense. We just want to be aware if it doesn't happen, right? We want to make sure these things are confirming that. But I don't think your mindset is like wrong. You know what I mean? I think you have an argument, And I'm kind of with you on that. That's why I'm kind of on my toes these days. I'm saying upward plays. Hey, I'm going to make sure that those upward plays, maybe I'm taking profit a little early, or there's no reversal signal within those plays. And I got a bug bite. It really itches. Market talk topped October 11th. Well, and if we're going to see that type of behavior, maybe it takes place over the weekend, right, or something like that. But we're going to see this 2-hour turn up for volatility. That's when you got to be like, it's kind of like you want to see something crazy with volatility. Well, you got a cup and handle setting up here. Maybe we go a little bit lower, get people more trapped. But anytime that 2-hour turns up, if it's anywhere near that center line, I'm going to be paying attention, especially if we go make a 30-minute divergence. I think if this would cross down, we see some bullishness. People get really bullish going all the way up to something like 581. Everyone's euphoric about it. And then boom, something bad happens. But I just don't think PPI would be the thing to do it. I think it would have to be some kind of black swan at this point. So it's hard to call a black swan. So we just want to say there's a bullish trend. So play the bullish trend. That's all you want to do, right? If things are bullish, wait for their clear reversal signals first. DJT's a monster. Is it still doing some cool stuff? Man, that is kind of a beast right now. Kind of a beast. Just the tiniest little handle here. We really wanted a deeper handle, but that thing just kept going. DJT, just watch if this thing does stop going up sporadically. Obviously, it's seeing something crazy, so it doesn't have to stop. But you do have a 30-minute forming here. Just watch if that 30-minute rotates down. You could dip back into this zone for a minute. But for the most part, you just say, look at that daily. My goodness, look at that weekly. Looks like it's about to turn up, isn't it? So this could be good things for DJT, especially if that weekly turns up. It means you got a good setup for a few weeks there. I'm liking the flagging. Yeah, just be careful if this flagging starts to lead to upside, right? You got to be careful if this flagging leads to upside if you're taking downside plays. And if volatility starts to turn down, it's not turning down. We're kind of looking if volatility turns up on a 2-hour or down on a 30-minute. That's what I'm looking for. What did Tesla end up doing? Did that hold up or did it reject? Yeah, it's finding some rejection there. We'll see if the news changes it later today. I think it's, what'd you say, after hours? Yeah, after hours today. PPI hot, it depends on what hot is, because we've seen so many times where it ticks up by 0.1, 0.2, and people just shake that shit off. So I think if you want it to be like hot, you need to see a decent size increase there. Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking of doing the same thing, Dave. I'm just waiting for it to get like a macro signal to confirm again, right? Because technically today we're curling up this MACD for a second, so we'll see if that continues. Technically on the Qs we've curled up that MACD for a second, but if that would curl back down, I'd have an argument to say, okay, this is going to be some form of double top, right? On the 2-hour, we see the divergence point. We see this coming down. So if that 2-hour crosses, then I'll totally flip and be like, okay, this looks kind of bad for right now. If we can turn back around, that'd be a good thing. But that's why I want to pay attention to the tightest time frame, because that 2 hours not too close to turning down. You need another 4 to 6 hours before that happens. So if we curl up on a 30-minute, then hey, positivity to be had. Now volatility is starting to gain a little bit of steam here. We'll see if that 2-hour can turn back up. Looks like it doesn't know which way it wants to go yet. We're still above the daily expected move, so I'm not Thinking this thing looks awful. Yeah, it looks pretty flaggy, like it wants to head higher. It's holding up pretty well. Let me look at this on some other charts here. Gotta check on AMD again. Then I just really would expect more of a pull down for volatility and a little pop in the market with this look, but and for the SPY, just so you're aware, if that curls down on a 2 hour, that's not going to be a good sign either. But for now, just looking at the shorter time frames, this 2 hour is not too close to crossing, so we got to pay attention to a 30-minute first because this looks pretty flaggy, and I don't want to fight against the bullish trend just yet till I see a reversal signal for real. All right, let's go through some of these, see if 30 minutes are crossing down, so likely still down for now. See if that can curl back up. Tesla trying to build back up, look for that 30-minute to cross, then see if the 2 hour can follow. Amazon looks very, very bullish still. We're just hanging out in our zone here. Profit maybe taking up here, but we are really getting to the broken down neckline, if you want to say that, right? You're getting to the area where you really broke down from, right? To get through all of this, we had to get through here. So you're at another breakdown area. If you can just do something like that, it would be a good thing. NVIDIA now trying to confirm upside. So see if that confirms and then see if AMD can follow. AMD might be the sleeper there for a second. And then Meta, even though it is pulling down, right, and we're crossing down in negative territory, just see if that turns back up because it's holding up pretty well, right? Just a little minor pullback here for Meta. Microsoft 1, dipping down to that area, same thing, right? It's still positive trend. We'll see if that can continue. We want to treat it like, hey, that's still within range of the center line to be bad, so let's just pay attention if that's bad, pay attention if the 2 hour starts to cross. But since the 2 hour hasn't, we have to see if that can whip back around. Google, I don't like the look of that, really. AMC, some little signals down in here. We're just seeing if a 2 hour can cross up. That's all I'm looking for from something like AMC. 2 hour can cross up, awesome. That's a good signal. Just know this thing really suffers all the time on Friday, so just be careful going into Friday with AMC. Let's go back into our 30 minutes here. Come on, SPY. 581. 581. 581. 581. TLT doesn't really have the best signals, just gonna be honest there. You do have a bunch of 30-minute ones. Actually, let me look on my charts because that one I have the weekly expected moves. If you want those, go over to Patreon real quick. Get those on your charts, guys. Now we're outside of a weekly expected move. We're outside of a weekly expected move for TLT. Okay, so if this does confirm back up, that means we have a shot to turn up this 2 hour. This 2 hour is still relatively, it's pretty damn deep. But you do have one tiny reversal signal here, but that's, you see how difficult that's going to be to really reverse this back around. But this does have a little bit of signals here that say, hey, you can experience some kind of bounce. You're outside of a weekly expected move going into Friday. And if we go over and look at the 10-year, I just wanted to show you the 10-year on a 2 hour. You do have those divergence points, but you're turning back up. We're kind of retaking our level of 4.062. So you need that to turn back down. That's going to be a big deal. You need that to turn back down, but notice that you're seeing those signals at the same time. That's a good time to pay attention. It means TLT can maybe catch a bounce if this 30-minute crosses up, right? But you have to take the other side of that. You always want to pay attention to the other side, right? How can this hurt me? Well, it's at a weekly expected move. It's just below a weekly expected move right now for TLT. So something crazy can happen, which means if, you know, I know Dave's been saying about PPI, or someone's been saying about PPI a bunch of, maybe it's John, saying about PPI, hey, that can be really bad for the market because if that scales up, blah, blah. Well, if that scales up, then you would say that those yields are going to continue to go higher, meaning TLT could see something. It means manage risk, be a little careful maybe with the position size. It doesn't mean if this turns around, it's not a trade setup. It just means, hey, I have to be a little bit cautious. We get data tomorrow, right? One of those rocks in our stream, we got to figure out which way that's going to go. I'm not necessarily leaning towards a big tick up in PPI, so that's just what I would say, but it can happen, so I'll be ready to react if it does. Mainly just looking for the daily to turn up here, and then I can reapply my investment. I'd really like a better 2 hour divergence if I'm going to take that earlier, right? If I see this and then we come down and we do that, if we go up, then I'll think about making a decision. But in the shorter time frames, I'm not going to do anything with TLT, just waiting to see a daily turn up for my investment there. Pulling back with some time. I mean, well, I actually, if you didn't notice in the chat where you commented, there's literally a brown picture on the profile, a brown picture on the profile, a brown picture on the profile, a brown picture on the profile with a D. So they kind of mix together. So, but now you're getting really emotional for some reason. Like, sorry I didn't see your chat, but just so you know, this live video has no charge to it, and the course is for the course if you took the course, but there's a lot of people chatting, a lot of brown, and I'm not going to feel bad about not commenting back to you if I don't see it, so my bad. People are so freaking moody these days. I don't get it, guys. What's going on? Like, I just didn't see it. What the hell's going on? Like, I talk the entire damn time. Jesus. And I was looking at charts a second ago, like on my other screen. I can't just talk in the comments every second of every day. It gasses me out. I'm trying to chill out more so I can really see what's going on with the market. Not look at a million stocks a day like I always do, because it's tiring. So I'm looking at charts over here because I have extra stuff on my charts over here to help you more. But my bad, I won't do that anymore. I won't do that. We'll just sit and be like every other YouTuber and just stare at the SPY. And yeah, NF and NVIDIA. And also, if you mention a stock, by the way, when you ask about stocks that we actually pay attention to on this channel, I'm more prone to go look at them. NVIDIA here, it might, but this also is just a very bullish thing outside of a weekly expected move. So you still have potential to squeeze here, just so you're aware, NF. I always say this about NVIDIA. It's very, very hard to short NVIDIA. Very, very hard to short NVIDIA. And also, I would just like to say this. I have a daughter, I have a child. I used to work in a daycare back when I was younger. I know that when someone throws a fit, usually you shouldn't give them what they want. So actually it's 10 o'clock and I have to hop off the live stream right now. So maybe if you come in with a little better attitude tomorrow, we can talk about that. Just note that I'm not ignoring anyone. I'm doing a ton of stuff right in front of me and doing my job during it as well. So like it's just a little bit ridiculous, but no, we are not going to give you a reward for commenting in chat repeatedly rude things. That will not happen. So everything we talked about today, it looks like we're just pulling back with time. We need to see if this 30-minute can cross up. Maybe a little hint of that would be if volatility can cross down on a 30-minute. That's what I would be paying attention to. For the most part. So let's just see if we're going to hit one of these daily expected moves today. Make sure if we see some dramatic selling, we're not crossing down on some bigger time frames. And I think that's the big deal going forward. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, doing all that good stuff. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate you guys taking the course and everything like that. I try to get to comments as much as possible, but know that I am a trader too, and I have to look at things throughout the day. And it's more likely that I'm going to respond if you pay attention to a stock that we're already paying attention to. And if you want to look at something like a different stock, that's perfectly fine. Just note that I'm working on looking at what we're actually paying attention to. This is my trading, and then I'm doing it to be helpful. Okay, so that's all I'd like to say about that. Hope you guys have a great day. I look forward to seeing you guys on YouTube later. I'll check you out. I'll check you out. I'll not check you out. I'll check you out. No, not that. I'll see you guys later on YouTube, and tonight for the Patreon, we will be putting out those daily expected moves for every stock that we cover. No, I trade on my other computer. I have another computer right here. All right, guys, taking off. See you guys later. Have a great day. Peace.